Franklyn, so far the only feature film by Gerald McMorrow, is an ambitious and moving portrait of four troubled people as their lives intertwine across two worlds. The film takes place both in present-day London and the crazy future metropolis of Meanwhile City, a theocracy swarming with different religions. In the present, Emilia, Eva Green, commits suicide every month for a macabre art project. Milo, Sam Riley, is jilted at the altar, but finds comfort in an old flame, and Esser, Bernard Hill, desperately searches for his lost son, who is psychologically damaged after returning from military service. In Meanwhile City, John Priest, Ryan Philippe, a masked vigilante, is tracking down the Individual, an evil cult leader who sacrificed a little girl for his beliefs. I hope that writer-director McMorrow makes more films in the future. As this is too good to be his only film, McMorrow is a visionary director both for the grim yet fantastical world he has created and the moving stories he weaves. As a city steeped in religion, to the point that faith is mandatory to live there, Meanwhile City's soaring design is heavily influenced by cathedrals and medieval architecture. This contributes to the city's interesting steampunk aesthetic, with emphasis on punk and squalor, and the diverse costumes and imagery convey how insane and lacking in direction Meanwhile City is, despite, or partly because of, all the religions it harbors. Meanwhile City looks gothic and stylized, and even in the grounded present, the cinematography is marvelous. The characters are simple, but the performances are excellent from the entire cast, especially from Hill and Green, and the film spends the quieter first half letting us grow acquainted and attached with the characters. As such, we care about them and are invested in their journeys despite their simplicity. All four characters have lost something. Esser lost his dead daughter and waylaid son. Milo lost his fiancée, as she left him by not even showing up to their wedding. Emilia effectively lost both of her parents, as her father is dead and she is pushing her mother away, and Priest lost the little girl he was supposed to rescue from the Individual. These gaps in their lives are in keeping with the dark fairy tale they all happen to know, which has a princess in an idyllic life waking up to find her prince gone, and suggests that they were once happy far too long ago. But these losses they have endured also relate to Priest's resentful musings, lifted from Epicurus and Hume, on the nature of God and evil. Since no greater power spared the characters from their hardships, the film depicts a random, godless universe, in which God either doesn't exist or might as well not exist out of his apathy. But, crucially, it's a godless universe with hope, as the characters try to fill the void in their lives with art, a childhood love, revenge, and faith. The ubiquitous janitor may in fact be God, but that's left to the viewer's interpretation. Emilia is a rebellious young woman who films her suicide attempts for a morbidly fascinating art project. She is withdrawn, cynical, and bitter. It is implied that she was molested by her father as a child, and expresses her pain through her art. Emilia's arc concerns how she reacts to death in its different forms, but also involves the janitor's message about how you should keep living not only for the family and friends you have now, but for the people you haven't met yet. A short but important and deeply affecting scene has Emilia wander through the hospital until she comes across a dying patient being desperately treated by several doctors. Emilia is deeply shocked by this, and the viewer is driven to compare her somehow frivolous deaths, as she ODs every month for an art project, with this anonymous person's sincere, tragic death. Emilia was heretofore stuck in a limbo of both wanting and not wanting to die, but this stark, unglamorous death she saw is the tipping point toward living, reinforced by the climax, in which she is injured and held hostage, and she thus reconciles with her mother and reaches out to Milo toward the end. After all of this, Emilia, in a sense, has an appreciation for life beaten into her by death. Even the reconciliation between Emilia and her mother is nuanced. Emilia hugs and thanks her mother for being honest, but the camera she sets up gives this apology the air of a confession, and Emilia's mother is still revealed to have been very negligent. The grinding gears of fate bring everyone together under traumatic circumstances, but Milo turns out to be the person Emilia hasn't met yet that she should live for. Funnily enough, they have already met in a way. After Milo is jilted at the altar, he reunites with his childhood best friend Sally, and a new relationship is kindled between them. But it turns out that Sally is actually Milo's imaginary friend, who came into being as a coping mechanism for Milo after his father passed away, and appears again to comfort him after his fiancée left him. Milo subconsciously envisions Sally with Emilia's face because he once caught Emilia filming him in the park. This isn't a major spoiler, as it's revealed pretty early in the film. This part of the narrative is a touching little story of coping with loss and Milo trying to hold on to this reassuring fantasy, and in the end, it's uplifting to see him meet his childhood imaginary friend in the flesh. To discuss Esser and Priest's stories would require major spoilers, and I don't want to blow the movie for you. At first, I thought that Franklyn was going for a Cloud Atlas-style relationship between its twin realities, with Wormsnakes and Mr. Tarrant, the leader of Meanwhile City, being descendants or reincarnations of their present-day selves. John Priest's part of the narrative has stunning visuals, interesting insights on God, fate, and evil, and Priest pulling the strings to assassinate the individual, and Esser's part is a somber little mystery plot as he searches for his son. Esser's sorrow and regret is vividly conveyed by Bernard Hill's performance, and the fact that we never see Esser's son immediately brings up questions. As Esser and Priest's journeys advance, intriguing parallels are made that shed light on who Esser's son, John Priest, and the individual really are, and it's immensely satisfying when all of these puzzle pieces come together. Some critics thought that Franklyn lacked an emotional payoff, but I disagree. Every main character finds catharsis or fulfillment in some way that is built up throughout the film. That is a mark of good, emotionally engaging writing. I can't really think of any notable flaws, except to point out that the time frame apparently jumped forward abruptly by several years, which I never like, and Esser needed more closure, as the ending is hopeful despite him losing everyone he cares about. I really liked Franklyn. It has a contemplative, multi-layered plot, deeply compelling and sympathetic characters, slow but efficient pacing, great dialogue and performances, and staggering art direction. McMorrow crafts a strikingly unique world for his film, and like Cloud Atlas 4 years later, it has the normally disparate genres of drama, mystery, romance, and science fiction coexisting and working together in a clever, touching, and philosophical whole. Franklyn earns 4 stars out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.